I'm a sucker for a good hour-long YouTube essay. There's nothing better than learning about something I didn't think I cared about on double speed in the background. But the problem is, YouTube essays, not all of them, but quite a few of them don't really live up to their full potential. If you really pay attention to what's happening, even ones that are super long, it is, at the end of the day, some guy talking into a tiny microphone about something he's not really an expert in. A lot of YouTube essays aren't really all that good because they have the same problem that you had when you wrote your first school paper in middle school. You didn't really do too much research. And then a teacher, inked up your paper and said, hey, you need to have more than one source. There are YouTube essays about things where they base the whole essay off of reading one book. Now, you got to look at this from the YouTuber's perspective. A YouTuber needs to pump out a video every 2 weeks at the minimum in order to be successful. There are some legends that can get away with only making one video a month or every other month, but they're not normal, okay? Especially if you're spinning up a channel for the first time. You really should be making something every week, and twice a week is actually ideal. YouTubers don't have much time, okay? If you really want to learn everything there is to know about the Somali pirates, okay, it'd be nice to read a book on the topic, okay? It'd probably be better to read multiple books and read multiple articles, really do your research, the same kind of crap that goes into writing a really solid school paper, okay? But the problem is there's really not a ton of time, and doing the research is only part of the video. You have to research, you have to do the talking, maybe voiceover, then there's all the editing, there's finding all the different content, you got to find footage, you got to find photos. There's so much that goes into it. And then, some YouTubers really spend a lot of time promoting their video, growing their social networks. It's tough. YouTubers don't have as much time as some other people, especially somebody who's writing a book. So you're really synthesizing information. And the struggle is YouTubers think, oh, if I just read one super long article, or even I'll read a 200-page book. I'll spend the first 2 days of the week reading this long book, then I'll write the script, then I'll edit it, and now I have a 15-minute deep dive on a topic. I can do this every week. Read a book every week, synthesize it, make the video once a week. The problem is, not every book is good and not every article is good. So the reason why a lot of YouTube essays fall on their face, whether or not they're 15 minutes long, or sometimes we, of course, see ones that are 3 hours long. They don't have enough sources. Okay, this is the problem. If they're talking about Africa, they only read a book on it. And they come out with a whole, 15-minute, 20-minute video called Guns, Germs, and Steel. But it's all based on a book that a lot of scientists, a lot of academics in the field say is false. So yes, you read an entire book. It felt like a lot of effort, but you're just going off of something that was popular, but turned out to be wrong. This is another struggle that people have. We want to read books and articles and stuff, but the really popular stuff that grabs our attention in the first place, the really, really popular stuff has a history of being wrong. A lot of the popular, stuff about, oh, this is how the mind actually works. It's some book where it's not very accurate. Malcolm Gladwell has a lot of popular books that would make prime YouTube videos, but especially some of his early books, they've turned out to be wrong, or they've turned out to be exaggerations, or not really telling the full story. So if you read one book that he wrote, it's super popular, it's super engaging, makes for a good video, but it makes for a wrong video if you only go off of him. So basically, YouTube essays get a lot better for the same reason why you writing a paper in high school got a lot better when you read more than one book or you cited more than one article. You've got to get a variety of sources of information, and not all in one cluster either. Like, maybe all these writers think alike and you read 5 articles, but they're all from a group of friends. You know what I mean? You want to get variety of different opinions, expose yourself to lots of variety of information on the topic. We are responsible as YouTubers for providing accurate information. You might think that, oh, somebody who's writing an article in the New York Times, they have more responsibility than me. Well, is that the case? I can make a video about something that gets 2 million views, while an article in the New York Times could, get a fraction of that. It's not even just some guy in his basement. Today, a bunch of these YouTube essays that are somehow coming out once a week or twice a week, but they're long, there's a whole team of people behind it. It's a company. It's not a person. So yes, you might think, oh, I'm getting an outside voice. It's just some dude in it. It feels comfortable because it's social media, but it's not. It's a company. It's every bit as much a corporate thing as you reading a magazine back in the day. Small company makes a small magazine, but it feels official. There are YouTube channels where it's a group of writers and editors, and it's one guy that is the talent, and he may look relatable, but he's somebody who works for a company, even if he owns it. So YouTubers are no longer just some guy. Many of us are, but it's also corporations now. And so much of the conversation is driven off of videos instead of something that comes from your news channel of choice, whether or not you like watching CNN or Fox or whatever. So I think that YouTube essays need to become more rigorous. They need to be better. There's limits to what you can do, because the medium is the message. There are limitations on what you can make money off of making. But YouTube essays would get way better if people would stop trying to make a whole video based off of one article they read. You can't do that, just like you couldn't get away with it in middle school. Why would you be able to get away with it just because you don't have a boss? You should have at least the standards that you were held accountable to when you were writing school papers in middle school and high school. That's my TED Talk. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.